to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
All right, welcome back. It's the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Big one here for you. Tron on the mic. My co-host with me, also on the mic. Different location. 10InchCowboy. How was the week in the Warzone?
Yes, different mic, different location, different gameplay, frankly. The week was good. It started out fantastic, had a couple of solid wins, which included one of the more memorable, a Quads Verdansk win, where your boy had 6 kills.
Wow.
Really feeling the flow, yeah. And I was playing with some PC gamers, let's just put it that way. So this was a top-level lobby that I was competing in. Didn't check the stats, but I'm going to go ahead and say it was a platinum lobby, just for conversation's sake. We got the quads win, 6 kills, fantastic. And then, just as sure as shit, week turns around. We play this morning, and I've never been more frustrated with anything in my entire life. It was horrible. Couldn't hit a shot if my life depended on it, which it did, and I died many times. How was your week, Tron?
Well, let's back it up there because, yes, I could testify to that. Not the highs there, but certainly the lows. I was there alongside you,
Yeah.
We did, I think, 4 straight, maybe 5 straight rebirth rounds. Didn't get a loadout once. Didn't, I think, make it past the first circle, per se. So, wiped off the map like bugs on the windshield of a car after a long road trip. And then, yeah, you're exasperated on the mic like, I hate this game. I'm never playing. Bad.
Just screaming. It's, I don't like screaming like that, playing the game that early in the morning before we record a podcast, because I feel like I'm going to throw my voice out. I get so mad. I'm just yelling things.
Yes, just yelling. So to reverse course, though, to the high game where you got the 6 kills, was there any Strela-related kills, or were those all with bullets? Like, how are you getting those kills?
It was all bullets. Definitely no Strela. Yeah, I was just playing with the car, actually. I was hitting my snipes. That game actually revolved around us getting we bought the $20,000, what is it called? It's the
Foresight perk.
Foresight. We got Foresight right off the bat, knew exactly where we needed to be by the end of the map. Not by no means was it an easy win or an easy task to get to the location we wanted to get to. We had multiple battles to get there, which included like a chopper, like dropping person after person on top of a team of me and a teammate that were separated from the other two. Finally held it down. It was just like a wild game, and then we knew where we had to be, so it was like integrating that strategy into like trying to survive our route to get there, and it was fun. Yeah, and we won. It was one of the first Verdansk wins I've gotten in a really long time. Is it just me, or is it real? Is the game getting harder to play? Are there more? I feel like everyone is so good at this game all of a sudden. I'm really starting to feel amateur again.
I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, the quality of the player base goes up over time, just as a natural, reoccurring phenomenon. But I think the time to kill now is so low. Like, if you go back to, Season 1 of Modern Warfare Warzone, it's the same amount of health to take a person down, 250 damage. But the time to get there compared back then to now, I feel like was eons. Like, these AUGs and stuff, because it seems like they just have only been buffing things, like, oh, this thing's too strong now, we'll nerf it, and then we'll buff something else. So it's like slowly, that time to kill is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller to where literally you peekaboo and you're fucking out of it.
It's a great point. I never really looked at it like that, but you're right. I didn't think you get killed so fast now. I just get killed so quickly by people. It's crazy. It's one burst or it's one shot. It's over. And it used to not be like that.
Yeah, I don't remember continually saying or hearing my teammates say, like, what did he just kill me with? Because it seems there's times it's just something so effective against me. I'll full plate it down dead, and it's like, what the fuck gun is that?
Yeah, how do I get that weapon? How can I play like that?
Yeah, still trying to figure that out there, listeners, but stay tuned. But yeah.
1 year later.
To back us up, how was my week in the Warzone? Banner week here for Tron. As I said, been taking some time off from the zone during the week, and I think you said you were curious how that affects my performance. This week, I gotta say, a huge positive. I hopped in fresh Friday night, having not really played. just got into the groove of things, really feeling it. It got on. People were like, it's pretty sweaty, man. But somehow we were fucking persevering. We were fighting through. And then one of the best games of my life, I got a 9-kill game.
Wow.
And we had the victory, including me getting the last kill. I feel like I finally, found my voice as a player, and it's the Car 98. It is me. I'm a sniper. That's Tron.
Wow. So you realize that once you get into double-digit kills, once you're getting 10-plus kills in a round, you are no longer an amateur.
Well, I'm scratching that edge there. I'm scratching that glass ceiling, let's say, tapping on it, little taps. I'm at the 9. I was at the 9 there. Didn't get the 10. Probably could have if I made some better plays there. But it was it was a trios, I think. Yeah, we were playing trios. It was kind of like you said, similar to your match. We didn't have foresight, but we were moving battle to battle, skirmishes. The final circle was out in the mountains. We got it done. Great stuff.
Dude, I love a final circle in the mountains. I love it. I like it so much more than, say, like downtown or somewhere like in like a promenade or somewhere where there's like a lot of buildings. I much prefer an open mountainous setting for the final circle, personally. I like that shit.
I agree, because I feel like most times in those circles, everyone's moving into the final circle as opposed to, some asshole team bunkered up in their little fucking house with like claymores all over it. Like, you can kind of camp in the mountains, but you're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
From so many directions that I don't feel you have as much of an advantage. So I'm there with you.
Specifically with, and we should talk about this, and I'm sure we will soon, but specifically with Foresight now being available for purchase, knowing where the final circle is going to be or the last few circles are going to be, if it's downtown or if it's somewhere where there are a lot of buildings, it kind of fucks everybody else, because if you have, they're going to hold that building and it's kind of just like makes the ending kind of, it's not as fun as, say, like, no one's going to go, once they get Foresight and there's, it's the second circle, they're not going to go camp in the forest for the rest of the trip. You know what I mean? Like, that's too vulnerable. You can't stay out there. So it makes a more interesting, thoughtful ending.
I agree. And I guess let's just dive right into that now, the Foresight, all this stuff. So Season 2 of Cold War, quote unquote, Reloaded, which is the mid-season update, rolled out on March 31st. Everyone real excited. Oh, they're going to be weapon tuning. This AUG's going to get taken down. The FAR is going to get put in its place. We're going to be back to the balanced, blessed Warzone meta that we've been craving. But then what happens? It drops. In the patch notes, they say, oh, we've nerfed the AUG. They didn't touch the M16, I guess. And everyone's immediately like, nope, AUG is still good, still fucking killing people, and the M16 as well. So I've experienced that. How about you?
Well, let me just go back to something. I didn't realize this. They named this Reloaded was the update. Was that like the official title, Reloaded?
I think that's, their official marketing terminology on the, forums and promotional materials they were sending out there.
That's so incredibly original, the Reloaded. God, they really love to come up with, really creative shit. Good for them. Yeah, frankly, the AUG, I was still getting killed very quickly this week. Very, very quickly. I'm not sure if I was killed at all by the M16. I definitely noticed more AUG still. I feel like this week people were testing the AUG out to see what had happened to it, what that nerf was really like. I was clearly on the receiving end of that. I was, you could say I was helping people see what the AUG was, still made of. And it still seemed to be made of the goods, because it was shredding me most of this week.
Well, that's very kind of you to volunteer yourself as like the test dummy, Hey, you guys want to see if the AUG's still good? Just shoot me up.
Yeah, listen, this is a community, and I'm always, I'm a giver. I'm out here trying to make people feel better about themselves. It's like why I play the game, That's why we do this podcast. It's all, I'm just giving it back, baby, So yeah, the AUG, I still seemed great to me. I didn't have any interaction with the M16, I don't think. But those burst ARs are, you never really know which one's getting you. The FAR, tell me about the FAR. The FAR was supposed to have some updates as well, right?
Yeah, so then that was the thing. There was nothing about the FFAR in the patch notes, but people immediately dropped in with their normal, loadouts they had, and they were like, something's up with the FAR. It's all fucked up. The ADS aim down sight time got nerfed significantly, but it turns out that was just because they've made tweaks to the attachments that most people are rocking
Ooh.
for the FFAR, which we've covered fairly in depth here on the old Amateur Hour podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Most notably, a few weeks back, we talked about, go ahead and use that salvo 50 round fast mag because there's no ADS penalty, even though it states there are. Well, now that ADS penalty is in effect. Same with most people were running, I think it was the takedown barrel. That now has no longer, I guess, provides better damage range and bullet velocity. So the long story short on the FFAR is it's still incredibly viable. People have just had to make some slight tweaks. So if you're still rocking it, which I highly recommend that you do because it's fucking good, is to go ahead, get rid of the salvo fast mag, and then just go with the standard 50 round mag, and then take on a new barrel. Now, I had started off using the Task Force barrel because I saw some streamers recommending that, but then the old buddy of ours, Pole, said, hey, I'm using the reinforced heavy. I went to that, having way more success with the reinforced heavy. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some people, like your boy Z-Laner, have gotten rid of their foregrip attachment, and they're throwing on the serpent wrap to help kind of recover some of that ADS action. I went to that as well, really loving it.
Ooh.
So that's where the FFAR is at. Have you tweaked yours at all?
I haven't tweaked mine at all.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah. I mean, I listen as much. I am, in a sense, a student of this podcast as well, because I listen to your research, like what you just described to me, and now I will go make those changes. There's no magic here. I'm not like, I don't know these things before the podcast. I'm learning this as well. So now that this information has become public, I will now integrate it into mine, and I will report back to the community next week.
Excellent. All right. Well, so then to reiterate for those listening, ready to equip their new FFAR, Tron's recommended build right now is the Agency Suppressor, the Reinforced Heavy Barrel, the Raider Stock, the Sandag 50 round mag standard, and the Serpent Wrap. Go ahead, give that a try, see how it's helping you out. Again, having some success.
I had heard from a buddy of ours, I can't remember who it was trying to preach that the 38 round mag was actually far better for the ADS than either of the 50 round mags. Have you heard anything about that?
I mean, in theory, it makes sense. I bet those do offer a little bit ADS, but again, the time you're going to spend reloading, to me, I don't think is really a net gain there. I think it's better to throw the Serpent Wrap, again, because that helps increase your ADS, and to me, it seems to be just as responsive as it was. Maybe a little slower, but you're still deleting motherfuckers. You're still winning the 50-50 gunfights.
Yes, in theory.
But I'm no sweat lord.
Yes.
So that was the big news on the weapon front. But then they threw in this whole new wrinkle, which you've explored. You kind of, you talk about you're a student, but you're also a teacher too, because you certainly were showing me some things.
Really? I like a nice wrinkle. Please share.
Yeah, well, the new wrinkle is they now have on these, buy stations that were previously showing the zombie containment percentage. Those are now special buy stations.
Oh, yes.
And you can only buy special things there. One of which they introduced now is called this bombardment kill streak, which is similar to a cluster strike. Have you seen this at all?
I haven't actually. No, the only time that I had used those, we purchased them in the bomb shelter holes. I like to call those the buttholes of the map. They're like those big holes where there's the rockets inside of. And yes, there are these, the zombie containment stations or whatever they're called. We had gone down there, looted, and then purchased the foresight for the 20 grand in the butthole, but then never looked at anything else because that was like the mission. It was like, we're getting foresight. Let's try it this round. Let's see what foresight is like. But no, tell me about, I didn't even know about this, the bombardment kill streak.
Yeah, I also haven't used it, but I did see a clip online of someone having it called in on them, and it was literally, I'm not exaggerating this, I think it was 45 seconds straight of just bombardment of basically cluster bombs dropping down upon you. So I'm sure I was surprised because everyone's like, oh, everyone's going to be dropping this final circle and it's going to be a fucking joke. So I think that's kind of a good strategy if you're out there. Give it a try. Throw on that bombardment. Yeah,
I mean, I haven't seen that in any of the Verdansk maps that I had played in the last week. I hadn't seen in a final circle situation like a massive kill streak being deployed. So I actually haven't witnessed this. I'm surprised it's not happening more.
Yeah, I agree. I think, though, part of it, which brings us to our next thing available at these special buy stations, is they've now, first time in the history of Warzone, you can purchase the Foresight perk
Yes.
for $20,000, which sounds like a lot, but you quickly showed me it's not that hard to get $20,000 if you're really trying, you're really cooking out there.
Well, they placed those zombie containment buy stations inside of the missile silos or buttholes. And inside of those areas is great looting territory. There's tons of money, tons of guns. Like if you're playing duos like you and someone else, or if you're in quads specifically, it's very easy to find $20,000 in those bomb shelter areas where these containment buys are. So it goes by really quick. So you kind of have to make the decision at first, like, okay, do we want to go for our loadout immediately, or do we want to go for the Foresight perk? Once it's established that you want the Foresight perk, you just save up that 20K, you get it, and then at that point you go after your loadout. Once you have your loadout, then you're set to go, and you know exactly where the circle is going to end. I won. When the first time we got Foresight, I won a quads. That was that 6-kill quad win we had early last week, which was fantastic. I left to do some work or something like that, came back on a few minutes later. The same group of friends that I was playing with did the exact same thing and got back-to-back wins in quads doing the Foresight perk. So there's definitely something to it. You can get unlucky because, you know, obviously it's randomized where the end circle is going to be. If it's like we were talking about, if it's up in the middle of the forest, you know, it's hard to go in the second, third circle, go up and camp there. You know, say you're like on the very east side of the map, camping above that fire station over there, like, you know, just below Quarry. Like, you're probably going to get killed out there, or it's going to be just the slowest, most boring game. But if it's like, say, in the hills, or if it's a downtown ending, you know exactly where you can set up. And it's really, really beneficial.
Really?
I like playing it. I like having all of that information. As an amateur, you need all the edges you can get.
Wow.
And this is probably the biggest edge they've ever offered us.
Yeah, see, that's kind of where I'm at. So for those, to, I guess, back us up, for those who are unaware, the Foresight perk.
Oh, yeah, we should probably explain what it is. That's a good point.
It reveals every single circle for the duration of the map, including the final circles, how it rotates. You see everything. Now, this Foresight perk has existed in Warzone for several seasons now, but it was extremely rare and extremely hard to find on the map. I believe you had to complete an Easter egg in most instances to find it. I had it one time.
I had it one time as well. We might have played that same game with it. I didn't get a win with it, yeah, but we got it.
We got second place because it was, like you said, the final circle was in that ice lake up by the fucking dam.
Yep. Terrible spot, yeah.
So it did us no favors. But the issue is now, though, having it buyable is, yeah, you can buy it, but at the same time, there can be in theory, there could be every team on the map purchasing that fucking thing. And you all know where you're going. So typically, I've done it with you once or twice. There were already teams going where we were going. They already fucking had the sniffers on, figuring it out. So you still think that's an overall benefit here to have it in the game?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's something that I think would be good forever, but I think them adding it now adds a little bit more spice. I mean, there has been this recurring theme of it's been so static. Nothing has changed in the game. It's been over a year now. Yes, they've introduced a couple of new weapons, and it's like, we all want the new map. We're waiting for the new map. And I feel like they're just throwing us like a variation bone before the map comes out, So in that regard, we'll have this for a couple of weeks. I like that. It changes your strategy. It's something new. It's something new and engaging in. If you're a listener and you haven't gotten Foresight before, give it a try. It's fun. Who knows? Maybe it'll help you get to a win. But yeah, there's the thing is that other people are getting it. And when we got Foresight this week and I got that quads win, there were certainly other teams that we had to battle to get in position to own that last circle area. So, don't think it's an automatic victory. It is hard to win even when you have Foresight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with every advantage in the fucking game, it's going to be difficult for us.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the fence. I think this thing's fucking bullshit.
Really? Wow. Really? Wow. You're just a purist, huh?
I think you get that shit out of there. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like, that's just such an insane advantage to be able to know exactly where you're headed, to be able to set a ping on the final building of the game where, it's a camper's fucking dream. And I know we've talked about I'm somewhat of a camper, but this is a little too much for me. Another thing, stupid, but another thing that's dumb about it is you buy it for $20,000, but then you got to hit the button to to activate it. It's like, why doesn't it just fucking activate on purpose? You think I don't want the thing that I just bought $20,000? You think I want to like wait?
Yeah, it's not like time dependent. It's not like it only lasts for a little bit of time. It's like you get it for the whole game.
So that's the big news there. If you haven't checked out these new buy stations, they're on, as you know, Cowboy so eloquently called them, the buttholes, which are the missile silos. I think they're also in all the areas where the zombies have previously or are currently residing. Is that right? So there might be one in hospital, I believe.
I think so. And one thing to mention, when you are purchasing them, there's like a little, I think it's an orange and black, like, you know, like digital screen that's in the game that you're buying it from. And it used to say that the zombie containment was at 5% or the zombie breakout was at 5%. Well, now it's at 33%, which is playing more and more into my completely original self-created thought and projection that zombies were going to 100% take over the map and then they were going to nuke the map. My prediction is looking more and more accurate as time goes on, wouldn't you say?
Well, we're going to get to that, but not quite yet, because we have one final thing that was introduced as part of Season 2 Reloaded. Which is we have been talking about it, the old minigun helicopters that we were promised.
Oh, yeah, they brought those back.
They brought them back, baby. Minigame heli's back in the game. And then what happened? Oh, wait, the fucking same glitch that people had before, that you were able to get invisibility through this thing. People immediately tried it. Immediately they found the thing's working. So I don't know what the fuck these guys have been doing with the mini helicopters for the past 2 months, but you didn't get it right. They immediately yanked it out of the game within 24 hours. So, you know, pour out some for the old minigun helicopters. We've had them for about 6 hours total during their lifespan.
Yeah, the minigun helicopters, too, their guns suck. I think they're supposed to be miniguns, but they do not slap. They're wildly inaccurate. Just get rid of the minigun helicopters. It's cool. Just take them away. I'm fine with normal helicopters. Like, let's just stop this madness. Like, God, just whatever engineering team is working on the helicopters, just take a break for a little while, guys. Just take a break.
Yeah. Figure out some new strategies, because whatever's going on, not working for the minigun helicopters. I'm with you.
What is the exploit that people were exploiting? Like, what, they were becoming invisible? I never really encountered that. What was going on?
I have no idea how they do it, how it involves this special helicopter, but yes, they're running around the map like a normal player, and they're fucking invisible. So I saw some people that were getting really clever with it. They weren't even using guns. They were just using like the Cali sticks, so they could literally just run up to people, beat the shit out of them to death. And the only way you see what's going on is in the kill cam. You're like, wait, they were right there. I couldn't see them. So thankfully, I mean, they were, I guess, getting rid of the minigun helicopters just immediately eliminates that. So that was where the big, Season 2 Reloaded in-game playable kind of updates. But the real big news, as we've been tracking, there was some, I guess, informal information dropped, speculation, big time stuff here for us to dive into. First off, I don't know if you've noticed, they have these new, like, certain rounds, you'll have these jet flyovers throughout your game. They're like sending these fucking jets across Verdansk. Have you had this yet?
I don't think so. No, I've always assumed those were like kill streak jets doing an airstrike or something.
No, so now certain games, it seems to be random. I've had it kind of one every 4 or 5 games in Verdansk. There's these ominous like jet flyovers, like in The Rock, when they're like scouting The Rock. And it seems to be, again, the military's getting ready to fucking drop in an airstrike or something. They don't have any effect on the game. They're not dropping bombs or anything like that. And then you start to get this weird like emergency broadcast ticker that goes right across your fucking screen. It's actually incredibly obnoxious. And it says like, caution, Verdansk is starting to become fucking overrun. I don't know what the text is, but it's like a emergency news alert. So obviously, as we've been saying, the map's clearly going to get nuked. But what have we been saying? We're like, oh, it's a new map. But then there was a bombshell middle of the week where there's going to be a new Warzone commercial coming out, and it leaked. Somebody tweeted that shit out, the video. It's still like a work in progress, like all the CGI isn't done. But here we go, guys. Brace for this. It appears to show that the new map we might be getting is actually just going to be a retro 1980s Verdansk. Give your first thoughts on that.
Come again? What was that? It's the same map, just with an 80s skin to it?
That's what I've watched this clip several times. You can Google it. There's, analysis videos breaking it down frame by frame. The main differences were like, oh, the stadium's under construction in this iteration, not quite built. And oh, the dam's no longer there. It's like an aqueduct. So that is that where they're leading us, man? Is that this new fucking map we've been waiting a year for? Is Back to the Future Verdansk?
We have put so much time into this podcast, into playing Warzone. If they come and fuck us with the same map, with this just a different time skin on it, we might have to take a week off. I don't know. I'm going to have to clear my head, find some form to channel my energy into, because that is going to be so obnoxious and absurd. It's like, I don't know if I could handle that, man. I simply don't know how we can go on.
I have my head in my hands right now because I'm with you. Like, there's just so much to unpack from that. Okay, so for one, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. None of this is confirmed. I theorized, again, throwing these guys a bone. Maybe this is a work in progress commercial that leaked, and, they didn't want to put gameplay footage of the new shit in there. So what they did is they somehow had some old renders or something of Verdansk. I don't know, but it's really, people are pretty much dead set. Like, all the content creators and things are locked in. And what's worse is I've seen some people out here who are like, oh, this is going to be cool. That's fucking great. And I'm like, I guess maybe, halfway through the first year of Warzone, if they had done this, I would have been like, that's fucking cool. When Black Ops first hit, if they're like, hey, check it out, new Black Ops integration, new Verdansk 1980s. But it's been over a fucking year. We've been crying out for a new map, and they're going to give us this shit?
It's actually insulting. I feel like my intelligence level is being attacked by Activision if they think they can get away with just putting a 80s touch to the map that we've had for over a year. If they do this, how can you at all believe you're in touch with your community, your streamers, your audience? This is so unlike anything we as a community have been asking for and talking about. Are you fucking kidding me? We're going to get some Top Gun version of Verdansk, and that's going to be the solve all? Dude, there's going to be another Battle Royale game that overtakes them if they do this. Like, I'm hoping that my best case scenario is that they're going to release a brand new map, but then there's also going to be Battle Royale on this secondary map, which is the 80s version of Verdansk. Because, if you think about it from a engineering standpoint, from like a company standpoint, they've put so many blood, sweat, and tear hours, paid hours into building Verdansk, right? And say they're coming up with making a new map. So they make this new map. They've been spending the last whatever months building a new map. Well, you have this old novelty map that I'm sure, it's still a great map, and it did so much for Battle Royale. Why not just keep it, put a new skin on it, which I don't know shit about engineering, but I'm assuming it's not as much work as building a new map. You already have the bones of it. Keep the old map as like maybe they do like a plunder. That's where the plunders are now in the new once they get the new updated map. Maybe it's just plundering in like the 80s Verdansk map, and then there's the new map where the Battle Royale happens. You know what I mean? Like, you can have both.
That's an interesting theory. Hey man, if they were to do that, pull that on us, like, I'm going to backtrack, give an apology, put my hat in my hands, show up at your doorstep at night and fucking, lower myself to your feet.
Yeah, give them a little curtsy, baby.
Yeah, so if that's the case, like, wrong on me. But I think the big question is, if that's not the case and we just get this 1980s retro Verdansk, the question I have is like, what the fuck have these guys been like when they go? There's an army of people working on this game. Like, we know that. And they're coming in, they're logging in at 8 a.m. or whatever it is. They're getting on their fucking computers and they're working their 8 hours. But it's like, what have you been doing? If there's no new map, like, literally, how have you been occupying your fucking time? Designing the blueprints? Like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. They have an army of employees that work for these companies, Raven, Activision, all these companies. And yeah, I'm not like some gaming, business expert or anything like that, but I would imagine that what are those people doing all day long? They're not just doing patch updates. They're not just balancing the weapons. They're not just coming up with new cool colors and things and bundles you can buy in the store. No, they have to be designing new maps. Like, what the fuck else are they doing? I'm getting heated.
I don't know, man.
This is crazy.
It brings us to our next topic, which is we've heard in our little circle of friends who've been very loyal to the Warzone game, put in many more hours than you or I.
Very loyal.
Many more wins, and blood, sweat, and tears, as you've said. And I'm starting to hear rumblings among them of like, man, if this new Battlefield comes out and they got a good fucking battle royale, I ain't going to be showing any reservations to hop in there. Or like, oh, if this new Halo has a battle royale, or like, oh, I'll just go back to fucking Fortnite. Like that if you're out there, Activision, like these conversations are a red flag.
They're happening. They're real. It's really happening. They will leave you in a second. You have put in this relationship on rocky terms.
Yeah. Like we told you, this condo you got, it's decent, but we're trying to raise a family. Like we need some fucking bedrooms for our child. We need a new space with which to exist, in a way. That's Verdansk. And if you're not going to give it to us, bro, we'll just find someone else that will. Where does that put us, though, as, the host of the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast?
Oh, I don't know. That's a deep question that we'll have to talk about. Maybe this just becomes the Amateur Hour gaming. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Until we know, we can't speculate anything. I guess it's our job to speculate as hosts of a podcast about this game. I guess that technically that's what we do. All we do is speculate. But let's try not to speculate too hard,
Okay, I'll speculate a little softer here. Hopefully we get some more rumblings. Again, all informal.
Also, just let me put just a cherry on this conversation. If this new commercial that they are getting ready to set for that got leaked is the new map, and they've blown the map release because of a leaked commercial, and on top of that, then it's like the new map is this 80s version of Verdansk. I mean, such clowns.
Well, if that's the cherry, let me just put a little bit of whipped cream, because final thought on that is, we say, oh, it's probably speculation, it's probably not real, but one thing that makes me actually believe that it is real is they went aggressively to take this shit down with the like DCMA or whatever it is, copyright violations.
Oh, really?
So anyone posting this shit, there was even like a gaming website, pretty high profile, and the CEO or the editor-in-chief had tweeted it out. He had his account temporarily suspended on Twitter or some shit like that.
Oh, whoa, I didn't know that.
So that makes me think like this is some secret sauce type of, Colonel Sanders recipe being leaked out there, but we'll see. Speculate a little softer. It's coming though. It looks like April 22nd, something like that's when this is all going to be happening. So stay tuned here on the Warzone Amateur Hour.
Ooh.
Those of you that are still with us, though, we got a pro tip here we discovered. We're a little late to the game, maybe, but pretty exciting stuff there. Cowboy, you go ahead. I'll let you, because you're the one who taught me. I want you to teach our audience here.
Well, apparently this has been around for a while. I thought I found it. I was like, they just made a patch, and it was like, holy shit, they just did this. But when you're playing Resurgence, and say you're playing duos, and say you get lucky enough to kill somebody, when you kill somebody and their teammate is still alive on the map, that teammate pings on your tac map. It shows them in red, and it kind of bursts out around them in red and white in kind of like a bursting fashion. I don't know what the right adjective would be there, but it like
UAV type of ping,
It's like a UAV type ping, yeah, on your map.
Sonar.
So, and I had no idea that this was a thing. So if you kill somebody on Resurgence, instantly look at your tac map, because it'll show where their teammate is, and then you can go hunt and slaughter them as well.
Yeah, this was mind-blowing. I went back, I rewatched the clip. We have it posted for our audience. We thought we were going to be breaking new ground here, sharing pro tips. Turns out not that new, but I mean, there's got to be somebody out there who didn't fucking know this.
Got to be somewhere.
So check it out. Especially, they got rid of Resurgence quads for the time being, but in that mode, it was especially beneficial. Although I've heard since talking about it to some of our buddies, they said it doesn't seem to happen with every kill, so I'm not sure. And they also said if the person has ghost, then it will ping the little like sonar, but it won't show the red dot. So some valuable information there either way. It's going to help you out. Like Cowboy said, keep an eye on that tac map when you get those kills in Rebirth. Maybe you're going to see where the fucking enemy's hiding.
Yeah.
But, last we spoke with you, you were having some serious online connectivity issues. I started to see it firsthand as I was spectating you in certain death situations. Your fucking guy was stuttering, tripping all over the place, having some trouble. So go ahead, take us through what happened there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know what had happened. I have fiber at my house.
What?
I have fiber.
Wow.
And I use Wi-Fi through my PlayStation 4. And I've never had lag issues. My ping latency was always sub 50. It always was fantastic. I never had any latency issues. No rubber banding, no nothing. That never really was an issue. Or if it had happened, it was like, it was weird. It was a lobby issue I typically blamed it on. Well, over the last week and a half, I don't know what changed, but my lag was becoming a breaking point issue where I would not play the game anymore. It was so bad. To the point where I was looking at people down a sniper scope and they weren't far away from me, shooting them right in the chest.
Yeah.
And it wasn't registering anything, and then they
Yes.
would kill me instantly. It was like things where it was like, how something is wrong here. Like my servers aren't registering me hitting the controller. It was all a nightmare, right?
Yes.
So I was losing my mind. So I figured, how can I fix this? What can I do? So the old cowboy went back in time and bought an Ethernet cable. And he plugged that Ethernet cable into his fiber box and plugged it right into his PS4 and went on, I guess it would be LAN, L-A-N. That's kind of like what it's called technically.
Local area network. That's correct.
The local area network. And let me tell you something, friends. If you are suffering from Wi-Fi connectivity issues and you have the ability to plug an Ethernet cable into your console, I could not recommend it enough. It has changed every bit of my gameplay. I am playing so much quicker. My sniping, you specifically notice it on long distance shooting. It is so true to your leads that you need. When I was having connectivity issues, I was just aiming in front of something moving, just thinking that I'd have to account for the latency. It was like a total nightmare. It's changed everything. I'm having the best game. It's a renaissance in gameplay at this point for me. Like,
Wow.
I'm like dancing in the night in the moonlight, just so excited about how fast my internet was. So I am a huge advocate of Ethernet. I'm keeping this permanently, never going to go back to Wi-Fi. I am a hardwired motherfucker from here on out.
All right. Well, hardwired motherfucker, did you go with a Cat 4, a Cat 5, or did you get the whole new Cat 6 cable there?
I got a Cat 6.
What?
Yeah, well, I went Cat 6, baby, 50-footer, running it across the house.
I'll be honest. When I put that question here on the agenda to ask you, I was certain you'd have no fucking idea what any of those were. So the fact that's like you did that, I'm impressed.
Oh, dude, your boy knows the difference between cats. Basically because I Wikipedia'd it right before I bought the cable. But I also can tell you there's also Cat 7 and Cat 8.
What?
Yeah, those aren't for, I don't think those are for, like, we don't need to get in the weeds of, like, different cabling. But those were, I don't think, applicable to what I needed. They, like, transfer, like, 25 gigs a second or something like that. And they're for much larger infrastructure. So I went Cat 6, which is plenty of speed, I think, that you'd ever need or something like that. It was perfect for my fiber setup. So yes, if you're having any connectivity issues and if your gameplay is suffering, Cowboy's stamp of approval, Ethernet cable. And if there is an Ethernet cable company out there that wants to sponsor the show, please reach out to us. I would love to support you guys.
Okay, yes. Pitch for advertisers, as always.
Gotta do it.
Just to chime in a little bit there on that, I had some similar issues earlier this year. I had just purchased a new router thinking like, okay, this is my issue. I got like a dual band router and it was doing great on my phone and then just wasn't working out in certain instances. I was having shitty times in Warzone. I checked my upload speed and it was like less than a meg a second. And so I called the old internet company and I'm like, what's going on, man? And I expected to get fucking ripped off and salted and slapped around as usually these guys do. But they're like, hey, man, looks like you got an outdated modem and the update speeds are slow. And I'm like, great, I'm going to have to buy a new modem. He's like, I can send you one for free if you just pay shipping. So I don't know, man. Basically, the gist is check your connectivity. Check your speeds. If they're not up to snuff, if they're not what you're paying for, then something's going on. So if you're like Cowboy, you might need a fucking Ethernet cable. If you're like Tron, you might need a fucking new modem. But get that shit solved. Give yourself some favors because we already got enough working against us in the zone. We can't be fucking pinging back and forth here,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm only going to imagine over the next couple of weeks when this hopefully new map comes out, there is going to be a massive download for the size of this new situation. You might as well get your internet up and running and perfect before then.
All right, well, that's pretty much it for news, speculation, all that. That brings us to now a question from a listener here. We had Martin from Quebec City, Canada reach out, and he asks, when I play with other people, whether it's duos or more, a lot of times my partners see the enemies and start shooting while I'm still trying to figure out where these fuckers are. And more often than not, they finish them before I get into the action. And I hate this feeling. It's like I'm a kid trying to play with adults, not knowing what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Well, first of all, when you play with people that are better than you have to just embrace that they're going to get a lot more kills than you. And you got to revel in the fact that they're out there running and gunning. Like when we play with good guys, they're always like out on the fringes, like doing things. And I'm just hearing like the sounds of like people dying and they're just killing around me, and you can't be, you don't want to be upset about that. You don't want to be like, oh, where's the action? I want the action. Just let them do the killing, because sooner or later, the action is going to come to you, my friend. You just need to be ready for your own shit.
Just let them do the killing, man. You're going to get a spot in the helicopter during the victory.
Yeah, you're just along for the ride, baby.
No, I totally relate to this. I mean, especially when I play with these PC guys, particularly Paul, I talk to him a lot. It's like I literally find myself saying to him, like, hey, man, save some for the rest of us because it's just the fucking guys putting them down before I can get to them. So I'm with you. And I think what Cowboy said is a good note. Like, don't worry too much about this because I found myself kind of being frustrated, like trying to push things more. And then what happens? I just fucking end up dying. And then I miss the kills anyways. My buddy who's good still gets the kills, except I'm not alive at that point. I'm dead. So you're first and foremost, stay alive. That is the name of the game. But secondly, my advice to you, Martin from Quebec City, Canada, is try and fucking stay at these players' side. Like, don't worry about looting as much. When they start to move to an area, be on their ass. And then you're going to know when they get to the action, you're going to be there. Because I've started to do that a bit more. It's like I'll see my buddy start pushing a house, and instead of me waiting back like I normally would, I'm like, what? I'm going to give this guy some backup. And then you might get some easy kills yourself.
Yeah, poach his kills. Let him do the dirty work, and then you can clean those up.
Yeah.
And, maybe every now and then if he's down, don't pick him up and let him know who's boss.
Yeah, it's like a quad situation. He goes in, he kills like the first 3, gets down by the 4th, and they're one shot. You come in, you wipe the team, you look like a hero, you fucking res him, and you're like, yeah, I got it, and you're all calm and shit, and you didn't do anything.
Yeah. And everyone thinks you're the man when he did all of the work.
Yeah, so that's the advice there. But in terms of listeners, also hopped into some games this morning with Easy.io and Rye Live. They're playing out in Europe, one in the UK, one in Germany, giving them a shout out. We had some good times. Ended up in fucking farmland, though, and they certainly saw why I hate that fucking place. We got killed. But finally, we have a correction. I'm sure you're surprised to hear that old Tronny maybe misspoke a little bit.
I knew you were wrong on this. I knew it when you said it.
Well, fuck you, because you're not right.
I knew it.
But anyways, last week I talked about these high-resolution texture packs. And, Cowboy's like, are these available for PS4? And I said no. So that was technically incorrect and correct at the same time. So the truth is, they are available for previous generation consoles, but you have to have the higher version. So you have to have a PS4 Pro, or I believe it's like an Xbox Series 1 X. I don't know. The fucking Xbox naming terminology it escapes me, but there's these beefed up versions of the previous systems that they released. If you have one of those, you can get the high resolution texture packs. But if you are like Cowboy, you have just the stock PS4, stock Xbox One, you cannot. All right?
Are you judging me because I just have a stock PS4?
I'm just clarifying that you said you were right and I was wrong, and I was right when I said you can't get them.
You think you're better than me because you have a PS5, don't you?
Well, you think you're fucking better than me because you got this fiber internet with like speeds that I can't even comprehend.
Touche. I do think I'm better than you with my fiber.
Yeah. And I fucking think I'm better than you with my high-resolution texture packs. So you better not get a PS5 or else I'm going to be in deep shit.
Yeah, you're fucked.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Thank you all so much for dropping in with us. Be sure to follow us or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our YouTube pages. I'm sorry we've been lagging on this breakdown of failure, but we're going to have it coming out, trying to get our shit going. Check it out. We got a few new gun guides up there on the website. Appreciate everyone's support. Get going. Get positive. We got to fucking hope that this new Verdansk thing isn't the case.
Yeah, and if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please follow, please subscribe. That really helps us out. We obviously appreciate all of that shit. I also feel like it's just the right thing to say, you know?
Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you all next week. Until then,
Good luck in the gulag, baby!
good luck in the gulag.